Alright, so in terms of games that aren't fighting games, that are huge, that we haven't heard about in a long time, much less have not had anything in an even longer time. So Resident Evil 2 Remake and Devil May Cry 5 are largely rumored and heavily suspected to be at E3 this year. In terms of the history of both of these games, we're at kind of an interesting point, because RE2 Remake was announced back in 2015 by the really funny-ass We Do It thing. After the success of Resident Evil 2 Remaster, when they re-released the game on modern consoles, they ultimately realized, like, wow, people actually give a shit about the classic Resident Evil and they like this stuff. And RE2 Remake, in my opinion, is up there with Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is like classic game that was so big back in the day that so many people loved to like the core. If you did that, that's like dream come true type stuff. Unfortunately, RE2 Remake, we just had a dude tell us in front of like a bulletin board that they're gonna do it, and he had a shirt. So it was the weirdest announcement of one of the biggest, most anticipated things you could possibly announce in the weirdest way. Now, I think the reason behind this is good, because since they haven't said anything, there has been something going on in the background that I think probably should be talked about, because there's been some leaks, there's been some people talking about how the game is, what the game is going to be, and I don't think this is going to be a basic-ass remaster. Even if it's like an up-res remaster like we saw with, you know, the old remake type of thing, I don't think they're just going to put over new character, like new polys on top of the stages and make new models and just have you play through the game classically. I think this is going to be a big-ass game. I have the personal belief, based on everything that I've heard in the past and how little we've heard of this game in 3 years now since its announcement, this game is going to be huge, and I'm 99% sure it's going to be a proper $60 title. It's not going to be like a budget game like RE2 Resident Evil Remaster, RE0 Remaster was. And even with the success of all the other Resident Evils, like RE4, 5, and 6 sold ridiculously when they came out on modern systems, and RE7 did largely pretty damn good, they're gonna treat this as something significant. And how significant is it going to be? I don't think it's going to be locked camera. I don't think it's going to be classic Resident Evil style. I think they are going to have a mixture of what we remember of the action Resident Evils, because a lot of people were complaining that we didn't get action RE from RE7, and I don't think it's going to be first person like RE7. I think we're going back to over-the-shoulder Leon Kennedy, which is cool. I'm looking forward to that more than anything. But I think this game is largely going to focus on horror a bit more, which it should. RE2 was always an action game, kind of. Even back in the day, there wasn't a lot of really scary moments in RE2, but the pacing and the set pieces were also really interesting to keep the game going. But it definitely had atmosphere, and if they expand on that atmosphere, this game is going to be friggin' sick. If they also make the game bigger in some ways, like just give you more places to explore, expand on what some of the characters were doing, if not some of the expanded lore that's going around Raccoon City at the time with, like, Jill, and there's a lot of shit that happened around Raccoon City blowing up, and right before it blows up, and there is a huge amount of shit to explore during that. I think the possibility of Remake 2 showing up at E3 is really high. Like, we're gonna put some percentages on it, 90% of RE2 Remake, we're gonna see at E3 with a big debut, with graphics, because a part of a leak, some people were saying that it's a good-looking game, people were saying that it is likely to change the camera angle back to something of a modern Resident Evil. I can't wait, dude, because RE2, in terms of the older Resident Evils, is easily one of my favorite games from back in the day. I played that game a ton, I played it in all the scenarios, and I think they're going to try to preserve as much of the old game as we think they are, like with the multiple scenarios between Claire and Leon. I think one of the things I want about the game the most is to make Leon a fucking noob. Like, make him not great about the situation. I want to see Leon as like an 18-year-old, or however, he's really young in his RPD uniform in Resident Evil 2. He needs to be inexperienced, and I think that'll be an interesting aspect. We're gonna have a character that the people that are playing the game can relate to, because in a lot of the Resident Evil action games, what's going on? You're this combat badass doing backflips, punching boulders, and like fighting off the jaws of huge megalodon sharks. Like, there's a little bit of a disconnect between what happened with, like, Leon and Chris in the later games, and then you have a character that is kind of freaked out by everything around him. So I'm looking forward to Leon growing up as a character in a modern game with Ada and everything like that. Like, fuck, man. If we get to see this game and it looks good, oh, I can't wait. It's my personal hope that VR is somehow in there. Resident Evil 7 in VR was one of my favorite video game experiences ever. I'll never forget that shit. I didn't play Resident Evil 7. That shit happened to me over the span of several days, and I've never experienced fear and fight or flight syndrome ever in my life. And that game did that to me. And I want there to be something. It doesn't have to be the whole game. We don't have to play the entire game in first person or some shit. If they go to that level, that's insane. But even if there was like a DLC expansion down the line of them to add VR, I'm okay with that, man. Like, give me something with PSVR, because that was one of the best aspects of Resident Evil 7, outside of it just being a really good, interesting new take on Resident Evil. So, there's a lot, like, and the problem with all this things that I'm saying is that the anticipation is real. Like, the expectations are real, and luckily Capcom and many fronts have been actually meeting expectations on everything but fighting games, which is still making me super friggin' livid as of right now. I don't think they're gonna screw this one up. I think they actually will put ample budget into this game to make it good. So expectations, pretty high. Is it gonna be at E3? Thinking hell yes. So, we'll be pretty disappointed if it isn't there. I really want it to be there, and I hope it's playable in some way. Because I'll be once again, like all the other fighting games, playing the shit out of this game if it is at E3, and I can't wait. That's a huge one for me personally, because I love Resident Evil 2, man. So Devil May Cry 5 has been largely rumored to be around for a long time. Like the past 6 months, there's been rumors and leaks associated with the game's reveal that just didn't happen. DMC5 was supposed to be at the Game Awards. Didn't show up! Tons of people were anticipating that the game was going to be shown, and according to many, it should have been shown at many different points, and it just hasn't, which leaves me a little worried. Devil May Cry is in an interesting situation because Itsuno has been rumored to be working on a game, and it most likely is DMC5. And I still think he's capable of doing an amazing job, because he's one of like the best classic Capcom designers / directors they have. He last did Dragon's Dogma, and that game was awesome. Like an RPG situation, added combat, and was super fun. So, I think he can do a great job with Devil May Cry 5. I don't know about Capcom, like, corporate. And the weirdest thing about Devil May Cry's history is that DMC4 did really well. It actually sold better than almost every Devil May Cry game, I believe. And for some reason, they chose to outsource it and change everything. And while some people, and many people along with them, don't like DMC, I actually like the game a lot. Do I like Dino, especially in the beginning of the game? Hell no! Like, dealing with Dino as the piece of shit kid that he is at the start of DMC is one of the hardest things, but in terms of what that game did, as far as Devil May Cry gameplay, the combat's still really good, not as good as Devil May Cry 4, but the environment traversal and what you can do with the weapons as far as like platforming and stuff like that, I thought was better than any of the other Devil May Crys and is super fun. I want there to be more stuff like that. Like, the problem with Devil May Cry 4 was that while it had some of the best action combat of any action game out there, my god, dude, the level design in that game was a slog. Like, even back in the day when I wasn't super critical about that game, I remember the part where you get to control Dante, and the game is like, you're just gonna play through the whole game over again. You're like, what? No, this is terrible. Like, why? So I'm a little worried about that. I'm also a little worried that Capcom chose to change Devil May Cry for no reason, because DMC4 still did really good. And I hope they have a clear vision. If anything, I'm more excited for Resident Evil 2 Remake, because I don't think they're gonna fuck up RE2 Remake. But I'm about 50-50 on DMC5. This could be a make or break situation for Capcom, because this game could be the apology for DMC, even though DMC wasn't terrible. It did leave a stale flavor in everybody's mouth, and they gotta MVCI this situation. This needs to be Devil May Cry Apology Edition, man. It's gotta be like, we're gonna bells and whistle the shit out of this. We're gonna make it everything you wanted it to be back in the day. It's gonna have Virgil. It's gonna have Nero. It's gonna have Dante. It's gonna have Trish. It's gonna have Lady. It's gonna have some new shithead. It's gonna have I want it so badly to have Dante's father, to have the Demon Sparta, played by Nolan North. Like, there was a rumor from a long time ago that Nolan North was in the game, along with the same two guys, I think is Johnny Young and the exact same cast that compromised Devil May Cry before, that they are together. And I so bad want to see Virgil, and I want to see Dante with like their ghost dad in the background or some shit, like bitching at them. Like, I don't know why. I think that kind of a weird relationship fits Devil May Cry really well. Oh god, it has the opportunity to be incredibly cool, and has the opportunity to take gameplay elements from other Devil May Cry games and give you like character switching or some shit like that. Because if this game is what it is, and they bring back Virgil, and you have Nero, and you have Dante, and you have Trish and Lady, these characters were explored in Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, where they have multiple styles, so you could do ridiculous shit, like have more characters that you can play as. You could fight with Lady, you could fight with Nero, and combo into each other. Getting excited. There's a lot of opportunity for Devil May Cry 5 to be fucking amazing, and I don't know if it's going to be, man. I don't want it to be some linear ass action game. It needs to be cool, and it needs to have a budget. That's the thing I'm worried the most about. And I guess I shouldn't be, because Capcom kind of puts decent budget into a lot of their other games, just not fighting games. Have it look cool. Have it play cool. I want to see all our characters and shit do cool stuff. And I feel largely the same about Resident Evil 2. Like, I just want to see all those characters doing cool shit, again, and talking to each other, and riffing on each other and stuff, because that's one of the most fun aspects of Devil May Cry 4, was the way Nero and Dante spoke to each other. God, man, it's gonna... I don't want Souls elements implemented into it. I know a lot of people are saying, what if it's Souls-like in some way? No, don't. Keep it a character action game like Bayonetta, like Devil May Cry 4, and just give us more shit that we could do. And this game could be awesome. But I don't have the most brightest of expectations. God, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it, because with this one, I don't know. It could be the reverse. None of these games could show up at all, and they've all been rumors that have been plotted and leaked by people for eons, and we can never see Resident Evil 2 Remake or Devil May Cry 5 again. RE2 Remake might have become deep down, we don't know. But I think there's a really good chance that both of them are going to be at E3. They're going to be at either the Microsoft or Sony press conference, and I feel that we're going to see both of them, and they will have gameplay. It won't just be a CG trailer, they will actually have gameplay. And in terms of goddamn Capcom, and if they look good, and if they are the things I'm saying they are, like, goddamn Cap God, they're slightly coming back. You're slightly coming back. The fighting game stuff makes you not Cap God. Like, that's still some right trash right there. But if MVCI gets something at E3, which it's not, yeah, that's immediate Cap God status. This is Capcom's time to shine, is what I'm saying. There could also be stuff of Monster Hunter PC that I think is the perfect opportunity to show off, but they haven't talked about it at all, and I'm hoping it's because they've been working on it a lot to make it as sick as it possibly can be. So between all that, like, I'm not even going to talk about Mega Man 11, because it's already been announced. I actually really want to play it after that latest trailer, Monster Hunter PC, and now Devil May Cry 5 / Resident Evil 2 Remake. That's what's insane. If both of those things are going to be at E3, we're talking all the eggs in one basket, motherfucker. We're going all in. We're talking like 5-yard line, NFL blitz, pass to end zone, and somehow fucking Kenny catches it shit. It is going to be crazy. I hope it comes true. I really do. Damn it, E3, this has good opportunity to be ass balls crazy, and Capcom has to step up to the plate, because this is their opportunity to shine.